Spirits in Avatar: The Last Airbender are so cool. My absolute favorite spirit's gotta be Wan Shi Ton.
I am Wan Shi Tong, he who knows 10,000 things.
This guy was freaking compelling. In a setting brimming with imperial struggle, his library examines what war does to the pursuit of knowledge and human curiosity, how the value of information is twisted into something violent and politicized. Wan Shi Tong is both alien and relatable. He exists distant from mortal struggles and doesn't understand why we wage war. But despite himself, he wants to have faith in humanity. Despite being a proto-omniscient spirit of knowledge, he chooses to let himself be naive, to give us a chance to prove him wrong against his better judgment. But tragically, there's no way for our heroes not to betray his trust, and use his archive as part of their struggle in the war. All earthly spirits in Avatar are damaged by the war. Wan Shi Tong is just the latest in a long line of spirits where we see this happen. Tui, the Painted Lady, Hei Bai. Spirits in their domain always suffer as a consequence of the Fire Nation's imperialism. But every time, alongside this human tragedy, we're also shown that people are not all bad. And here, we have one human, Professor Zay, with an unwavering appreciation for the library's gifts and knowledge for knowledge's sake, who chooses to stay behind with Wan Shi Tong as he abandons the mortal realm.
I can't. I've spent too long trying to find this place. There's not another collection of knowledge like this on Earth. I could spend an eternity in here.
The library disappears beneath the sands, never to be seen again. It's a mystery what happens to them, but there's a hope that maybe Zay is right, and he will spend an eternity there, transcending together with the library. And maybe, just maybe, Wan Shi Tong will finally be able to share his domain forever with a human who truly does appreciate and understand him. The series' primary inspiration for this model of spirits, a model where humans are both capable of great care and great destruction alongside them, is Princess Mononoke, a Miyazaki film, which Bryke has repeatedly professed to be a huge fan of, and a major influence on Avatar. In Mononoke, the spirit of the forest is an enigmatic, ethereal being beyond understanding. It's ambiguous if it's even conscious. Its form wanders the woods by day in the form of a Shinto deer, and upon dusk, transforms into a suspiciously familiar-looking night stalker. There's a duality built into this spirit. It gives life and death in equal measure, and all spirits in Avatar follow in these footsteps. Hei Bai represents this most plainly with his two forms, but it also exists in pairs of spirits, like Tui and La, who are similarly capable of both granting life and wanton destruction. In Mononoke, human industrialization and expansion tangibly reduces what the spirits amount to, as they exist in the domain of nature's mysteries. As humans master the world, spirits are being transformed into merely intelligent animals, and eventually just livestock to be harvested under human control. Humans in Mononoke can even kill spirits, using the tools of their industry, iron. This is not true in Avatar, however. Human imperialism doesn't destroy spiritual creatures here. It just angers and corrupts them, or heartbreakingly, drives them away to return where they originate from. In Avatar, magic isn't dying. Magic leaves, back to its own realm, the spirit world. The spirit world is a fascinating component of Avatar's mythology. It seems to be the true home of most spirits, a parallel dimension of sorts where they have existed for all time. Well, maybe. It's vague how much the concept of time even applies over there. Spirits are ageless and immortal by human standards, and some are more ancient than others. Space is an equally confused topic, as the land is more of a non-Euclidean dreamscape, where your feelings and ideas are made tangible. It's left ambiguous why spirits journey from here to exist on Earth. They seem happy enough in their dimension, but the spirit world and the mortal world seem inextricably linked in all sorts of ways, and the boundaries are porous and spill into each other. There are many different gateways connecting the worlds, pools of water which can act as portals, as well as literal rips in the fabric between the dimensions. Some spirits naturally seem able to move between the realms at will, and twice a year many more can freely cross over and materialize during the solstice, when the divide between the worlds is thinnest. The divide between spirits and mortals is fuzzy in another crucial way, though. Spirits can go so far as to abandon their astral form entirely and become mortal. And perhaps even more strange, mortals can ascend and become spirits. We see both sides of this happen with Yue and the Moon Spirit stories, but there's other examples littered across the canon. Really think about that. Humans can become spirits, despite being creatures of an entirely different dimension. Certain humans can even project their soul as a spirit in life, just through meditation and training. Aside from reincarnation, this is the only way we've seen a new spirit be born, by humans choosing to ascend into their world, warping and twisting their form over generations. This is just one of many pieces of evidence that put into question the idea that spirits really are something wholly separate from us. All spirits are able to temporarily bind themselves with humans. Many spirits can heal humans, or take their faces, or appreciate their worship. That's weird, right? We know the spirits and their world long predate the first humans. Vaatu spells that out for us pretty cut and dry.
I lived 10,000 lifetimes before the first of your kind crawled out of the mud.
But nonetheless, spirits have a connection to the mortal world and mortal creatures that is undeniable. They become protectors of our forests and rivers, archive our knowledge. Spirits are part of the natural and human world, not just the supernatural one. Even the most ancient spirit we know of, Rava, pays reverence to the entirely earthly lion turtle. There's something more going on here that ties spirits with mortals, and asks the question, what are spirits really? And I think the key to exploring this is to talk about the complicated relationship between spirits and bending. Bending should have nothing to do with spirits. It was a gift from the lion turtles, which are mortal creatures of Earth. They bestowed these kick-ass superpowers to us through energy bending. Spirits cannot bend. Even humans who become spirits can't bend. Spirits and bending are separate magic systems in this universe, and it should be as simple as that. But it isn't. Let's ignore for a moment that we've been told that the ability to bend and to learn bending is a factor of someone's spirituality. That's why every air nomad is a bender, apparently. But this is not conclusive at all. It's definitely not like all benders are spiritual people. And once again, spirits can't bend. And yet, the moon spirit taught the first waterbenders how to bend. We see both the moon and ocean spirit enhancing Aang's waterbending during the series. Roku might not have been able to bend as an incorporeal spirit, but he can bend when he possesses Aang. Rava, for some reason, has the ability to store bending in her body and swap wands bending around at will, giving and taking it in a way that is not dissimilar from energy bending. The Avatar state itself shows the power of raw, spiritual energy to enhance someone's bending abilities. Aang was even able to restore Korra's bending while still being an incorporeal spirit. Spirits, if nothing else, are extremely compatible with bending, in a way that doesn't make sense if the two concepts aren't related. The most obscene example of this is harmonic convergence, a spiritual zenith where via the portals, humanity was supercharged in a way that magically restored airbending to the world. Now, was this a contrived narrative absurdity meant to undermine the inconvenient baggage of trying to restore a culture driven to the edge of extinction by imperialism when what you want now is clean world building with 4 elemental factions? Yes, but it also shows that spirituality, and even the existence of the 4 bending elements in the world, is tethered to the same kind of spirituality as the spirit world. But here's the thing. We actually know how bending works. In fact, there's a lot of things we know. We're about to get into some of the background metaphysics of the show. So, bending comes from the activation of human chi paths, which are a special magical circulatory system that exists in the bodies of humans in the Avatar universe. Benders move their body around to create chi circulation in the system that is then transferred into bending. But it all comes back to these chi paths. That's why blocking someone's chi disables bending, and why Amon was able to take away someone's bending by precisely lobotomizing their chi paths through blood bending. Chakras are special pools in the chi paths, and damaging these chi paths was even capable of cutting Aang off from the Avatar state until he was able to get the paths unblocked. There's all sorts of ways to manipulate chi paths, but the most common method is healing, which uses water as a catalyst to locally activate the chi paths around a person's wounds. This activation then accelerates the natural healing process of the body in that area. This is actually based off of a real pseudoscience called Reiki. But yeah, essentially, waterbenders can tap into chi using glowy illuminated water hands to accelerate healing. But let's get back to spirits a bit. There's something else you can use to heal. Spirit water. Spirit water is a liquid that is plentiful in the spirit world but rare in the mortal one. There's pools of water supercharged with spiritual energy that allow it to have super healing abilities that break all the rules. The most important spirit water we see comes from the Spirit Oasis in the Northern Water Tribe, where Tui and La reside. Now, the water in the oasis might become spirit water just because there's freaking spirits in it, but according to the RPG book, it's strongly believed by many that the bottom of the pool is a passageway to the spirit world. And we do know that Ko the Face Dealer has at least on one occasion traveled through the pool. Water pools are a common type of spirit portal, actually, and I think it's a fair assumption that all of these pools are filled with healing spirit water. This all suggests that there might be some deeper connection between water, healing, and spirits. Cool. Where am I going with this? Well, I'm going to the Southern Water Tribe in Season 2 of Legend of Korra, where some fucker has the audacity to do this. In Legend of Korra Season 2, we learn a lot about spirits. For one, via Unalaq, we learn that using waterbending, humans can manipulate the spiritual energy in spirits directly. They can bend spirits, using water as a catalyst. And at least during harmonic convergence, they can do it against the spirit's will. Now, I think that alone shows that there's some underlying mechanism of spirits that makes it compatible with waterbending somehow. But here's the thing, y'all. Spirit bending is a subtype of healing. The creators went ahead and confirmed this elsewhere. And I mean, just look at it. It's pretty consistent with how healing works. If spirit bending is healing, and healing is the activation of chi, then wouldn't that mean... Guys, I think spirits are made of chi. This is why spirit bending glows the same way healing glows. Chi and spirits can predate humankind, but humans are still fundamentally related to and filled with the stuff. This is why spirit bending works on human souls the same way it works on ancient spirits. This is the whole reason human souls can become spirits. Humans and spirits are both creatures of chi, and the spirit world is a realm of chi that has coalesced and congealed into distinct conscious entities. It's life energy. Human souls are also made out of chi, and that chi can distort and warp the spirit world. By moving life energy around in the chi paths, humans can bend. Spirits can't bend, but they can amplify chi paths inside humans, and even grant bending, whether that be through harmonic convergence or traditional energy bending. Energy bending isn't just the power to give bending, it's the power to control chi, which all spirits can do. Chi is a part of life, and spirits have a strong relationship with mortal life forms. They are in fact a form of energy that can't be created or destroyed. It makes sense of why spirits can't truly die and seem to reincarnate, like there's a conservation of energy at play here. There's no difference between the energy that makes up this hedgehog and the energy that makes up the spirit vines. It's all the same thing. It's all chi. I mean, it's basically a science at that point, right? And several human antagonists weaponize the implications of chi as a science. Amon exploits the fact that chi comes through the physical chi paths in the human body, and uses blood bending to physically lobotomize those chi paths. Unalaq uses spirit bending, which abuses water's ability to activate chi paths in spirits to mind control them. And Kuvira turns chi itself, raw spiritual energy, into a power source for advanced human weaponry. I think this all gives us a pretty complete picture of spirits. Spirits are life energy that operates in a consistent way that we can understand and abuse. Although, should they be? I know I've been ragging on about theory crafting for a while, but to wrap up, I'd like to take a pause and just give some food for thought. At the end of the day, spirits are not really a science. They are in fact a plot device, and a flexible metaphor meant to further certain themes in the show. There's this great science fiction concept called Clarke's Law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. But there's an inverse to it too. Any sufficiently understood magic is indistinguishable from science. Over time, the in-universe metaphysics of this show's magic system are going to become more and more concrete and mundane to the viewers. That's natural. But compared to the original series, we learn chi paths have a physical location in the brain that can be cut with blood bending. We learn bending was directly embedded in us by the lion turtles, and not learned through some abstract mythical ways. We learn that spirits are all just made up of light and dark energy goo that can be externally puppeted predictably between these two states, without any interaction with the spirit directly. Spirits were also made very human and approachable, or otherwise acted like feral animals. Neither extreme, which really embodies the idea of them as these abstract beings with inscrutable knowledge. Spirits are increasingly within mortal comprehension and control. We can mind control them and turn them into nukes essentially without consequences at this point. They aren't an unknowable force. They have become a coherent resource that we can utilize safely. This modifies their relationship with humans in the story. Spirits are no longer a representation of the unknown side of nature we should respect, or a humbling force. Rather, spirits have been turned into a physical science that can be subjugated just like everything else. As it turns out, nothing is beyond our control and test tube understanding, not even deep, personal concepts of spirituality and meditation. And look, there's still room for interesting storytelling here. Ecological stewardship and denuclearization stories rely on wielding the natural world and science responsibly. But I also like spirits as a storytelling device. And one thing that's always been interesting about spirits is how they've been a vehicle for these Eastern philosophies towards a Western audience. Spirits were something with complex motives that we needed to understand on their own terms. Tenzin tries this approach, and the show said, smack. Instead, they are balls of energy goo that humans can just forcefully fix or use manually. Their world has shifted from one that couldn't control spirits to one that has to actively choose not to. We could take this to its logical conclusion, and even turn the Avatar's role into something like, I don't know, the annihilation of an objectively evil spirit with absolutely no room to understand or connect with it. Oh. In Season 2 of Legend of Korra, we meet Wan Shitong once again. As it turns out, Professor Zay, symbol of hope in human curiosity, immediately died after the library sank into the spirit world. He's dead. Wan Shitong became a bitter, out-of-touch boomer. The only spirit, in fact, who willingly worked with Unalaq in his plan to destroy the world. Unalaq, who uses spirit knowledge to wage human wars. Unalaq is a true friend to spirits, he says. Wan Shitong has become a buffoon, a bitter, malicious, mundane idiot stripped of any compelling worldview or belief, motivated entirely by an Osei human spite. There is no longer an alien-like mystery surrounding his thoughts. Far from it, everything about his actions makes sense and is logical. But is this compelling? Is this story better than the possibility space of the character and spirits once had? There's an irony that Wan Shitong wanted to believe in an unperverted human curiosity, but learning more about his story damaged it. Explanations are a lot of fun, but stories aren't always better for it, especially if it will discard the meaning of what existed before without replacing it with something better. I don't know. There's a balance to be struck between understanding things and seeing value in the negative space of not knowing, narratively speaking. I think that's something that spirits can, and I hope continue, to mean. But as we wade deeper into scientificating spirits, there is a risk that they're going to become simply intelligent animals, and eventually, just a science to be harvested under human control.